Hello, good morning. Welcome to the Trails Radio Show. Thank you for joining us today. Today, my special guest is actor Mr. Kristopher Logan. Thank you, and join us in a minute.
I think it was his first movie in the States. No Way Back. Anyway, sure, let's get started.
Okay.
You can ask me what you like.
Okay, my first question to you is, how did you get started in the industry? How did your career begin?
Well, I guess in third grade, that's the first time I acted. And I played Linus in It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown. Hold on just a second.
Okay.
And really, I always had a sense like, when everybody's sitting around and reading aloud in kindergarten and stuff, and everybody's like, see, check, run, up. And I'm like, no, it's see, Jack, run up. I just always had a feel for, the way the word should be expressed with naturalness and life to it. And then I guess I started acting again in, the very first thing I did in my very first performance, which was on Halloween and as Linus in It's the Great Pumpkin, Charlie Brown, was to walk on stage with Lucy for my first scene and absolutely crack up laughing because I was nervous. And then Lucy cracked up laughing too, and we're both just standing there laughing at each other. But we got back on track and pulled it together, and it was a big success. Then I started acting in high school, and it became pretty clear that I was good at it. Then after high school, I went, pardon. I wound up seeing a play by a South African playwright named Ethel Fugard. Never sure if I'm pronouncing his name right. And it was great. I saw it in Berkeley, and that's what I want to do. I want to make people feel like I feel right now. And when I got back to Monterey, California, which is where I lived at the time, I was about to start junior college there, and they posted auditions for the play Equus. I don't know if you know anything about that.
I've heard of it, yeah.
One of the main characters is a 17-year-old boy, and I was 16 at the time. And I remember thinking like, well, yeah, there's no parts for this in me, though. No parts for me in this. Because the lead was no way I was going to be playing the lead. A friend of mine just, don't worry, man. If they cast you, you can do it. And they did cast me, and I thought, to me, in junior college at 16, junior college drama department seemed like a big deal, But it wound up being a huge hit for Monterey, so much so that we did it again at a community theater in Monterey, which was the first time that something that wasn't a musical or a Neil Simon play had been done in God knows how long. And my dad, who was a career Navy guy, decided that, hey, he thought this acting thing was pretty cool, and he would have a crack at it too, and he wanted to play the psychiatrist, which is a huge part with like 5-page monologues.
Oh, yeah.
a gigantic part. And I'm like, Dad, yeah, you might want to start off a little bit slower. At any rate, he auditioned for it, and he got cast as my father. And the woman who was playing my mother in the play actually looked more like me than my real mother, so it was the best set of stage parents ever. Then, like I say, that was all quite successful, and I decided I would go to ACT, American Conservatory Theater summer training program in San Francisco. And then once I was in San Francisco, I realized, well, if I'm going to be an actor, I might as well stay in a big city rather than moving back to Monterey. Mm-hmm. So I stayed in San Francisco. I went to did a year of conservatory training at a place called the Drama Studio London at Berkeley, which was the American branch of an English acting school. Wound up doing a lot of theater there, a lot of Shakespeare and repertory theater, and started doing film and television, really in about, 1988, I guess. And by about also in 1988, I was talking with a friend of mine that I was doing a scene with in an acting class, mm-hmm. and she was already planning on moving to Los Angeles. And I started going like, oh, yeah, well, I should move to L.A. too. Yeah. She says, yeah, you're right, you should. You should move with me. I need a roommate. And I was like, I couldn't possibly do it. Good Lord, what do you mean? Actually do it? No, couldn't possibly. And I realized that all my excuses for not doing it didn't hold water, and moved to L.A. And then I started trying to get an agent, and I figured I would do okay with that, but it was pretty difficult. Back then, you got these mailing lists and mailed out headshots and resumes to agents and managers and stuff. Mm-hmm. And I did one big round of those and got, 2 or 3 people interested enough to have me in for an interview, where they interviewed me and had me read something and went, wow, you're a terrific actor. Got no idea what I'd do with you, so, well, good luck. Bye. So for the second round of submissions to agents, I decided, well, I'll save some money on postage and make a little map and go deliver them by hand on this, route in Hollywood. I walked into this one office. It was just a one-room office, and the guy was sitting there at the desk talking with somebody, and I just sort of held up my picture and resume, and he went, oh, yeah, sure, fine, here, just put it there. Put it on the desk and left. That night, that agent was home channel surfing, and he hit my scene in the Deadpool, which is the last Dirty Harry movie. Mm-hmm. And you know how in the Dirty Harry movies, a third of the way into the movie, he stumbles upon some random crime and uses what's going to be the line on the random criminal, mm-hmm. and then he uses the line on the bad guy in the movie at the end of the movie. Go ahead, make my day. Do you feel lucky? The classic Dirty Harry lines. So I'm the setup guy for the tagline in the Deadpool, which is the worst of all of them. By far, it says, you're shit out of luck. Oh, wow. Yeah, that's up there with go ahead and make my day. Anyway, the scene is 90 seconds long, and I'm the head of this gang doing an invasion robbery at a Chinese restaurant. And Clint sees it, sneaks in behind me. And the scene's about 90 seconds long. And this agent was channel surfing, and he hit that 90-second scene and went, that guy walked into my office this morning. He called me up the next day, and I've been with him ever since.
Wow.
So that's how that happened. And in the early 90s, I guess New York City was in pretty bad shape, and actors were moving to L.A. in droves from New York City. And I was meeting, 1 or 2 a week. And would hear this, like, so you're doing okay, you're getting some work. How did you get an agent? How did you do? I said, well, you could try what I did. Having somebody accidentally see you on television with Clint Eastwood the day after you put a resume on their desk, the night after. And so that was that.
Yeah, it's funny how things work out.
Yep.
Are you still acting today? Are you still active in the industry?
Not very. My agent, the one I just mentioned, has had some health problems, and he's been kind of out of the picture for a bit. I believe he's getting back into it, so hopefully I will too. I know some, for instance, I played poker with a couple who are a husband-wife management team, and I said, oh, hey, by the way, don't say anything right now, but I could probably use some new representation. So think about it and give me a call. And he gave me a call back and said, look, Chris, I hate to say this, but I've got 4 guys on my list that are right in your slot, and I can't get them out because I'm at a kind of a weird age where there are not a lot of parts. And another thing that I did not realize, when I first moved down here, I was late 20s and looked considerably younger. Mm-hmm. And like I say, I had done a lot of theater and had already done film and television work, and I'd go into these auditions with guys that are 21, 22, 23, and you could tell, because everybody's sitting there with their picture and resume on their lap, and their resumes are largely blank sheets, and mine is, the type's probably too small, and it's a full page. And that made me feel a little bit better, because I knew that, I had more experience and training and stuff than these other guys. That was fine. But I'm a character actor, and I had always thought, well, I'm a character actor. Boy, things will really get rolling when I'm 40, 50. Ooh, yeah. That's when I'll be getting all these great parts. One thing that I did not think about is that by the time you're 50, all of the deadwood is gone. Everybody in the room for that audition can knock it out of the park. They could play pin the tail on the donkey, and they would get a terrific performance. Anybody who can't cut it quit years ago and left Los Angeles. And they're not interested in seeing somebody new. For this part, the dad or the judge or the businessman or whatever, it's like, oh, call so-and-so. He'll be great for that. With young people, there's this, ooh, who's this? Is this somebody I need to know about? Older actors, that just doesn't apply. People work with the people that they already know. Yeah. Which is totally understandable. And I've been around long enough. There are people who know me, but no country for old men.
Yeah, ageism affects everyone in this industry. Yeah, ageism, it comes sooner or later for all the actors.
Yep. No, it's certainly better for men than for women. But, like I say, there are fewer parts. And, for years, friends of mine have been saying, like, God, I went out for this part, and it's a small part. It's one scene, 2 scenes. And there's a guy who was nominated for an Oscar reading for the same part. What's going on? There's a guy who was a regular on a hugely popular TV show reading for this same one scene part, So, yeah, no surprise, it is tough to make a living as an actor.
Oh yeah, this